I had never expected that the quiet stone-paved town on the northern edge of Europe would carry an undercurrent so unsettling that it could bend a person's mind in ways even the darkest corners of the internet couldn't. Yet everything began the day a new boy arrived at our school, a place already known for its cold discipline and emotionless hallways where students walked with lowered shoulders and teachers spoke in clipped voices as if language itself was an unnecessary luxury. And the boy, entered with a hesitant step that made the entire class turn because strangers were rare here, especially ones with amber eyes that seemed permanently alert, like someone who had already survived something adults wouldn't dare mention. At first he sat near the window in complete silence, but within days I noticed a subtle shift in the atmosphere around him. Not loud, not dramatic, but a psychological pressure, a kind of tension the other students directed at him through smirks, whispers, and those long, strange European gazes that looked polite on the surface but carried knives underneath. And the unsettling part was that Leon never responded, never complained, never defended himself. He only observed, and I didn't understand why he didn't fight back until the afternoon I saw him surrounded behind the bicycle shed where 3 boys, tall and sharp-jawed, were circling him like predators toying with prey while he stood perfectly still, almost too still, as if his mind had retreated far away, and something in that look, distant but calculating, made me uneasy, because bullies expect fear but Leon wasn't afraid. He was studying them, memorizing them, and the next morning everything changed when I found a message slipped into my locker. A piece of paper folded with extreme precision, containing only a dark web-style hyperlink written in strange segmented letters, the kind people use on encrypted boards to avoid detection, and beneath it a sentence in small handwriting. Watch what they do to him, then watch what he becomes. At first I thought it was some stupid school prank, but curiosity is a dangerous thing, and late that night in my dorm room, with cold winds tapping the old wooden frames, I typed the link manually into a privacy browser, expecting nothing more than edgy teen nonsense, but instead it opened a minimalistic page with a single live window, low resolution and grainy like early darknet footage, and slowly a room came into view, bare concrete walls, a flickering bulb, and in the center, Lun, sitting on a metal chair with his hands resting calmly on his lap, not tied, not injured, just waiting, like someone who had willingly walked into this, and around him the 3 boys from school stood nervously, holding their phones as if they were the ones being monitored instead of him, and a line of text appeared beneath the video. A mind breaks only if it resists. A mind transforms if it accepts. I stared, unable to look away, because the boy on the screen wasn't the timid, silent newcomer anymore. His face was unreadable, as if emotion had been peeled away layer by layer until only a chilling clarity remained, and then he spoke, not to the bullies but directly toward the camera, as if he knew someone out there, me, was watching, and he said, in a controlled European accent, "When you let them shape you, you don't become weaker. You become something they don't understand." And the next moment the bullies stepped closer, taunting him, shoving him slightly, trying to trigger a reaction, but Leon didn't flinch. Instead, he leaned forward just a fraction, enough to unnerve anyone, and whispered something I couldn't hear through the low-quality feed. Yet whatever he said drained the color from their faces, because the leader of the 3 dropped his phone and staggered back, muttering curses under his breath, while the other 2 exchanged a fear-soaked glance, and the scene abruptly cut to black like someone had terminated the stream from the source. I remember sitting frozen, my pulse loud in my ears, because something about the whole setup didn't feel like bullying anymore. It felt orchestrated, psychological, deliberate, almost like Leon had lured them into a situation where he was the observer and they were the experiment, and the next day at school confirmed it, because the 3 bullies didn't show up to first period or second or third, and whispers floated down the corridors that their parents had reported them missing, gone overnight without signs of struggle, and for the first time the silent school felt alive, buzzing with subdued panic that teachers tried and failed to suppress. When I saw Leon sitting at his usual desk calmly sketching something in his notebook, I forced myself to approach him, and when he looked up at me with those amber eyes, I realized he had known all along that I was the one watching, because he closed his notebook very slowly and said, without a smile, "Curiosity is how it starts for everyone, but curiosity has a price." And before I could ask anything, he slid the notebook toward me, letting it open just enough that I caught a glimpse of what he had drawn. 3 shadowy figures standing in a dark corridor, their proportions twisted, elongated, distorted not by physical harm but by fear itself, as if he had captured their minds deteriorating frame by frame. Later that evening another message appeared on my device. Same segmented lettering, same precision, inviting me to a new page. With a countdown timer and a single line. You watched them. Now someone will watch you. My breath tightened because it wasn't a threat. It felt like a psychological contract I had unknowingly signed by entering the first link, and that night I couldn't shake the feeling of being observed, not physically, but mentally, like a presence had settled inside the quiet corners of my thoughts, nudging them, bending them, shaping them the way Leon had mentioned on that eerie live stream. By morning, the once rigid school environment felt subtly altered, the students unervingly silent, teachers distracted, and Leon walking through the hallway with an odd stillness that made people instinctively step aside. And when he passed me, he whispered without moving his lips, "They're learning from you now," which made my blood run cold because I didn't understand who they were. Another group, another part of the dark web, or something entirely psychological that fed on the fear and attention of those who got too close. Days blurred into each other, and with each passing moment I felt my perception shift, not dramatically, but in small, unnerving ways, noticing shadows where none should be, sensing movements in the corner of my vision, hearing faint footsteps behind me that always vanished when I turned, until one evening I received one final message, the kind that doesn't need explanation. You're ready. Ready for what? I still don't know. But as I walked into school the next morning and saw a new student standing at the front of the class, nervous, unfamiliar, eyes lowered, I suddenly understood why Leon had looked at me the way he did on his first day, because now I was the one observing. I was the one who could sense the tension. I was the one standing at the thin border between fear and control, between victim and architect, and in that moment I realized the true psychological horror wasn't in the dark web link or the live stream, it was in how easily a mind could be shaped, not by violence, but by silence, by pressure, by being watched until you either break or transform into something that watches back.